In the small, quiet town of Ashenwood, nestled amidst a forest of ancient oaks, there stood a mansion that cast a long, eerie shadow on the land. Known as Hollow Manor, it was a place shrouded in legends and whispered tales, a place where the line between the living and the dead was as thin as a wisp of smoke. It was a place where the souls of the departed still clung to the earthly realm, trapped in a cycle of torment and longing. Hollow Manor had a history that stretched back centuries, its walls bearing witness to countless stories of love, betrayal, and tragedy. It was said that the mansion's original owner, Lord Archibald Holloway, had built it as a declaration of his wealth and power. But as time passed, the grandeur of the manor gave way to darkness. The legend spoke of a curse that had befallen the Holloway family. A curse woven from the blood of those who had been wronged, a curse that had twisted their souls and bound them to the mansion for all eternity. It was a curse born of greed, and it was said to feed on the misery of those who dared to enter. On a stormy night, when the heavens wept torrents of rain, a group of intrepid paranormal investigators arrived at Ashenwood. Drawn by the tales of Hollow Manor, they sought to uncover the truth behind the legends and capture the supernatural on their instruments. Among them was Sarah, a gifted medium, who had seen the spirits of the dead since she was a child. She had always felt a connection to the other side, and Hollow Manor called to her like a siren in the night. As they stepped through the mansion's foreboding entrance, the investigators could feel a chill that penetrated their bones. The air was heavy with the scent of decay, and the walls whispered secrets long buried. The rain outside battered the windows like desperate fingers clawing to escape. Sarah, with her gift, sensed the presence of the spirits immediately. They watched from the shadows, their eyes filled with sorrow and anger. Lord Archibald Holloway, the patriarch of the cursed family, materialized before her, his countenance twisted by the torment of centuries. "Why have you come to this accursed place?" he moaned, his voice a mournful echo. The investigators had ventured deep into Hollow Manor, and as they delved further, they uncovered the tragic stories of the Holloway family. Betrayals, vendettas, and lost loves filled the mansion's history, and the spirits were trapped in a never-ending cycle of reliving their agony. The investigators, undeterred by the rising malevolence, continued their exploration. In the grand ballroom, they encountered the ghost of Lady Eliza Holloway, whose love for a forbidden suitor had led to her tragic demise. Her spectral figure danced alone in the moonlight, eternally waiting for a love that would never return. As the night wore on, the investigators found themselves pursued by vengeful spirits. Shadows twisted and danced through the dark corridors, and disembodied voices whispered dreadful secrets in their ears. Sarah's connection to the other side seemed to intensify, and she could feel the spirits' emotions as though they were her own. In the heart of Hollow Manor, they discovered the cursed artifact that had bound the spirits to the mansion. It was a tarnished locket, a symbol of lost love and broken promises. With great effort, they managed to remove it, and as they did, a deafening wail filled the air, echoing through the mansion like a banshee's cry. The curse was broken, and the spirits of the Holloway family were released from their eternal torment. Their forms dissolved into the light, and the mansion itself seemed to sigh with relief. But as the first rays of dawn broke through the stormy sky, the investigators realized the cost of their victory. The curse of Hollow Manor had been lifted, but the spirits were not the only ones who had been bound. Sarah, the gifted medium, had unwittingly forged a connection with the spirits that could not be severed. Their memories, their pain, and their longing were now a part of her. As the investigators left Hollow Manor, the rain had subsided, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. Sarah knew that she had found her purpose, to help the lost souls find their peace. She carried their stories with her, a reminder of the horrors of the past and the hope for a brighter future. In the weeks that followed, the town of Ashenwood felt a profound shift. The mansion that had once cast a shadow of dread had become a place of serenity. The curse had been broken, and the spirits of Hollow Manor were finally at rest. But as for Sarah, her connection to the spirits remained, and she continued to help them find their way to the light. She had unlocked the secrets of Hollow Manor, but in doing so, she had become a keeper of the past, a bridge between the living and the dead. Hollow Manor had been a place of nightmares, but it had also become a place of redemption, where the echoes of the past had. The connection between Sarah and the spirits of Hollow Manor weighed on her like a heavy shroud. She could hear their whispers in the still of the night, see their mournful faces in her dreams. They sought solace through her, their stories and emotions bleeding into her reality. She had become their beacon of hope and their vessel for communication with the living. As Sarah delved deeper into the spirits' stories, she discovered that their curse had not truly ended. It had merely transformed, evolving into something even more sinister. The spirits were no longer bound to the mansion, but instead, they now clung to her, their presence growing stronger with each passing day. The spirits' longing for the living world had turned into an insatiable hunger. They began to exert their influence over Sarah, compelling her to revisit the mansion and perform dark rituals. The spirit's malevolence had not dissipated, it had merely shifted its focus to the living. Sarah's closest friends and family noticed her transformation. She became increasingly withdrawn, her eyes haunted by the souls of Hollow Manor. As the spirit's influence over her grew, she found herself unable to resist their commands. They demanded retribution for their centuries of suffering, and Sarah had become their instrument of vengeance. One fateful night, the spirits compelled Sarah to return to Hollow Manor, this time with a group of unsuspecting visitors. As they entered the mansion, they could feel the weight of despair pressing down on them, and the shadows seemed to reach out, eager to claim their souls. The spirits wasted no time in revealing their presence. They manifested before the visitors in grotesque forms, their faces twisted with rage. The group was paralyzed with fear as the spirits whispered tales of betrayal, heartbreak, and injustice, each word like a dagger to the heart. The malevolent spirits had chosen their victims well. One by one, they possessed the visitors, their voices and actions no longer their own. The living had become vessels for the vengeful dead, forced to relive the horrors of the past. Sarah, caught in the grip of the spirit's influence, watched in horror as her friends and family were consumed by the malevolence. She realized the terrible truth: the curse of Hollow Manor had not been broken, but had merely found a new host. In the end, Sarah was left alone in the mansion, surrounded by the tormented spirits who had once sought her help. She had unwittingly become the catalyst for their revenge, and there was no escape from their relentless grasp. As the curse of Hollow Manor continued to spread, it cast a long, sinister shadow over Ashenwood. The town that had once breathed a sigh of relief now quivered in dread. The spirits, their appetite for vengeance insatiable, wandered the town, possessing those they encountered. The once peaceful town was transformed into a nightmarish realm, where the living and the dead coexisted in a torment of eternal suffering. The curse had not been lifted, it had merely evolved, and the nightmare had no end in sight. Hollow Manor had become a place of unspeakable horror, where the boundary between the living and the dead was forever blurred. Ashenwood had become a town where the past and the present were inextricably intertwined, and the malevolent spirits continued to seek their revenge. As Sarah stood alone in the accursed mansion, she could hear the whispers of the spirits growing louder, their voices merging with her own. She had become a part of the curse, a vessel for their vengeance, and she knew that her fate was sealed. In the heart of Hollow Manor, the darkness closed in, and the shadows devoured the last remnants of the living. The spirits of the Holloway family had found their retribution, and the curse they had wrought continued to claim the souls of the living.